Hello friends, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. As promised, here is part 2. If you missed part 1 of the fallout this week, there was just so much going on. We had to talk about pretty much every single team. So we're going to dive into Saturday's games now. If you want to check out Sunday's games, then of course they are there for you right now on the JLA channel. Make sure you subscribe as well to the channel if you haven't done so as of yet, because it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Let's kick off with Nottingham Forest 1, Liverpool 0. The XG, very interesting here, 1.85 to 1.66. So the question for Liverpool fans, I'm asking you guys, there's a lot of you guys who thankfully have subscribed to the channel. What did Klopp do wrong? I want you guys to let me know. Here are my thoughts. Liverpool's system and the structure caused a lot of the problems for themselves in this match, as the narrowness of their formation meant that Forest were able to stay narrow themselves when defending and shut the door on any Liverpool penetrative passes. Without any real width dragging the Forest midfielders out wide, it meant that their fullbacks, who sometimes get exposed, didn't have many questions asked of them in this match. The average positions tell a story here as to how narrow Liverpool's forwards all were and played most of their football in congested areas. This was one of the worries for Liverpool after this system was used against City. Just how reliable is this system? That's the question for me. Whilst this system was worked in terms of unlocking Salah against Man City, against teams that are going to sit back, it's just going to be very, very different. It had the adverse effect in this match, as Salah only had, wait for it, 22 touches in this game, with most of them coming in central areas. In this match, Liverpool had 75% possession and Salah only received 7 progressive passes. In the Man City match, to put it into context, Liverpool only had 37% possession, yet Salah received 8 progressive passes. The narrowness didn't only cause problems for Salah, it also caused defensive problems for Liverpool. With the ball constantly being played into the middle and Liverpool making the pitch smaller for themselves, it meant that Forest were able to win the ball back and attack in transition in areas that they wanted to be honest, and utilise that front three. Cheku Kouyaté and Remo Freuler made 10 recoveries each in this match because Liverpool made it so easy, to be honest. Another problem Liverpool faced was that the centre-backs had limited options to pass to without Thiago or Trent in the team. This meant that they were often sort of caught on the ball. We saw that with Van Dijk slipping over that time, right? And the ball just didn't move as smoothly as Liverpool wanted it to. Having said all this, and it is the usual thing where you just go big on the big team that didn't win, but Forest were brilliant. They were really, really good, and there were some excellent individual displays for them. Firstly, Taiwo Awoniyi, who we told you in January when we were saying, a Premier League side needed to buy this guy. Well, it was proven again in this game. He was very, very impressive. He has been, I think, in every game that he's played, apart from maybe the Leicester City game where he had those chances and didn't take them. He was the epitome of a handful against Liverpool, his old club, of course. And importantly, he was clinical when he got a chance. He only had 4 touches in Liverpool's box, and one was a shot that hit the post, and the other was that tap-in afterwards. The other player to focus on, Dean Henderson. He is slowly building one of the most impressive highlight reels for a goalkeeper in recent years. He's had some big, big games already. It's only October. He was instrumental in securing the 3 points for Forest in this match. The quality of the reflex saves were immense, but his positioning is also massively underrated as a part of his game. He puts himself in superb positions and angles himself brilliantly. He made 7 saves, with 6 of them being inside of the box against Liverpool, one of the individual displays of the season in my opinion. He might well be the best goalkeeper outside the top 6 at this moment in time, certainly on current form. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below. Everton 3, Crystal Palace 0, the XG 1.45 to 0.95, and Lampard knows what he's doing. In this match, Lampard made a subtle tweak to his side that unlocked the whole team, and Everton benefited from it massively. But what was it? Well, Everton have been playing a 4-3-3 with a flat 3 in midfield this season, with Gay operating as a single pivot. However, he's not really looked right, if I'm honest. I think he's struggled coming back into the Premier League, and the attack has looked disjointed from the rest of the team at times this season, with the link between the midfield and the attack not being very prominent. So Lampard made the move. He made the move to 4-2-3-1, and that subtle change of moving to a 4-2-3-1 with a double pivot and Iwobi playing 5 to 10 yards further forward completely changed Everton's attacking capabilities. With Onana and Gay playing as a pair, it reduced how exposed Everton were in transitions. Of course, you got behind that Cody and Tarkowski, who are a safe pair of hands, right? And it just it puts another line in between those transitions. It took that bit of pressure off Gay, who has sometimes been played around a bit this season. But the big change, however, was Iwobi. Alex Iwobi, what a player. I mean, we are going to be doing a video this week talking about players that need an apology. Alex Iwobi will be on that thumbnail, I'm telling you now, because he deserves one by a hell of a lot of people. Iwobi sort of sewed it together when it came to the entire attack for Everton in this game. Attacking as a link man for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it meant that there was a clear supply line to the striker. It also meant that the wingers had options when on the ball, something that has been a big problem for Everton this season. Time and time again, Everton's wingers have gotten into good positions, but they have had very limited options. With Iwobi as a floating playmaker with a supporting role, it gave Everton much more fluidity and dynamism. With Iwobi drifting around the final third freely, it made him impossible to pick up, to be honest. He also made his way into the box more frequently in this match, which gave Everton a far greater presence in there as well than they've had this season. And now, Alex Iwobi now sits on 5 assists for the season, with only De Bruyne with more. Keep an eye on him for your FPL team. For Palace, a day to forget for them generally, as they made Everton look like prime Barcelona, to be honest. However, there were some intriguing things taken from the match. I mean, maybe I'm looking for it, but I thought Abir Eze was a bright spark in this match, and he seems to be improving every week, playing lots of games, lots of minutes. It looks like he really is getting back to full fitness now, and Eze made 4 key passes in this match, but was also impressive at moving into central areas to progress the ball, which he's so brilliant at. He made 5 progressive passes and 5 passes into the final third. Only Tyrick Mitchell made more for Palace. So Eze, what I'm trying to say is he's about to explode. Mark my words. And Gareth, get him on the plane. Man City made up some ground on Arsenal. We spoke about Arsenal-Southampton in the fallout yesterday. As I said, go check that one out. But a good win for Man City. A tough one, though. I thought this would be a tough game, and it did prove to be so for Man City. They won 3-1, the XG 1.63. to 0.48. Brighton were outdone by Man City's individuals, to be honest. And were Brighton unlucky in this match? I think they were, just a little bit. I mean, Brighton went man-to-man in their off-the-ball defending, with each Brighton player having a specific target when they received the ball. This worked to an extent, with it limiting City's options when playing out from the back. However, it's games like this where City's individuals take charge. For example, City's first goal. This came from no real options being on for Ederson at all. And against any other team in the league, that would mean that that's going to make life really, really difficult for you. And Brighton will have done their job really well. However, when you have Ederson's distribution in your side, coupled with Haaland as a bloody steam train, pretty much, it can be as simple as punting it long and getting a ball in behind. And that's exactly what happened. This is why these players are worth the big bucks. The problem with Brighton was City were able to work around their press at times, either by individual brilliance, such as Mahrez slipping it in through someone's legs, or Bernardo and Grealish combining with a 1-2. This meant that once City had bypassed that initial Brighton press, it left City with a 3-on-3 in defensive transition, which obviously going to massively stretch Brighton and overloaded them at times. Another question I think we should pose is, do we respect Brighton's approach, or was it naive going toe-to-toe against Man City? Personally, I think huge respect to the system and to De Zerbi, because it did cause City problems when playing at the back. And if Welbeck puts that initial chance away, this game's really, really different. Tactically, I think Brighton got it right for the most part, and De Zerbi said after the game that at Sassuolo he had strikers who knew how to score. But he doesn't have that here at Brighton. These are some pretty damning comments, and shows that he also felt that their approach was right, apart from that lack of quality in certain areas, through the middle. And that was the difference in settling the match. And I think when you're this early into the job, although it's dangerous when you haven't won a game yet, I think he's showing, and maybe it's one where it's lost in translation a little bit, but it seems very clear that the next stop in the transfer market for Brighton is going to be that central striker, something that most people have been calling out for a long time. Ultimately, the difference between these two matches is that City have a team full of stars and Brighton just have one or two. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 1, the XG 1.06 to 0.84. Was it a fair result? I'd love to hear how you guys feel. It seems like everyone's said that, but does anyone disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. This was the third 1-1 in a row between these two clubs, but why was this match any different to those? Well, it was a very high-level football match. I think initially you look at the XG and the scoreline, and it might not make you believe that. However, this was a very sort of modern tactical clash with both managers making tactically subtle changes within the match to try and alter the flow and power dynamic of the match itself. The average football viewer might not have noticed those things, but you guys will, because you're JLA through and through, right? Let's talk about the midfield battle, because the midfield battle was where control of this match sort of swayed back and forth. In the opening stages, Man United's midfield three were dominant, which is what Erik ten Hag has been building towards, and it has unfolded well over the last 3 matches, I would say. However, this also brought out the best in Graham Potter as he identified this and subtly changed his system, bringing on Kovacic on in place of Cucurella in the 36th minutes. Shows how proactive Potter is in terms of seeing these things, and that's where Chelsea were able to turn the screw. I also think actually it's the 5 substitutes now. There's no reason to stay on the pitch if you're struggling with an injury, and there's no reason to not make those changes as a manager anymore. And there will be a higher scrutiny and pressure of the timing of substitutions as much as what those substitutions are. Not only did this change mean that Casemiro was on the ball less, but Eriksen's time on the ball was limited as well. The goals are actually the least interesting thing in this match, if I'm honest. And as one was kind of a moment of silliness from McTominay, and whilst the other was a really, really good header from Casemiro in the dying embers as Man United chucked pretty much everything at it. Key takeaway from this match is that these two sides are on the up and are kind of roughly on the same trajectory, actually. Both clubs have tactically astute, clever managers in charge, and that is the most exciting thing that came from this game. It was seeing how it all unfolded on the pitch. It was a fair result. It was a fair result, and both teams were tactically very well set up, which is exactly what both sets of fans want in the long run. Oh my God, did you hear that? So there you have it, a whistle-stop tour of the tactical elements of the weekend's games, focusing on Saturday. As I said, we had a look at Sunday's game, so go check that out. If you haven't seen it, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button on your way out. I'll see you next time.